My name is Steve Schirripa. I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. I've seen good people turn bad and bad people turn worse. Some took contracts to carry out a hit. Some were victims of a hit. To hitman, life and death are just part of the business. It's nothing personal. Big Sal Miciotta is a mafia hitman. It's Friday night and Sal's got plans. Sal's gonna go out with a young wannabe gangster named Larry Carrozza.
I never thought about it, as a moral issue. A lot of times, killing a guy meant more money for the family, more money for the boss.
Today, Sal lives in hiding. He has never told the story of what he did to Larry Carrozza until now.
If you're gonna hurt somebody, make sure you injure them severely so that they can't come back and exact revenge.
Sal Miciotta, he did a lot of work, killed a lot of people. Larry Carrozza is one of them. I think his reputation was fearsome. He was a go-to guy when it came to killing people.
Salvatore Big Sal Miciotta is one of the guys who handles the problem of gangsters who don't work out.
Murder was used as an economic tool. The end always justified the means.
But why is it that Larry Carrozza is going to end up a customer at his own funeral home? After all, in the mafia, there are rules to follow and toes too dangerous to step on.
When you took the oath, when they inducted you, you became made, you got your button, you were in it for life.
I felt that everybody that entered those doors knew what the rules and regulations were and knew what the penalties were if they broke one of those rules or regulations.
The family you belonged to, the organized crime life, the mafia, the La Cosa Nostra, that was your life. And you did whatever you were told to do. And if you wanted to get out, you could get out, but they'd be carrying you out.
One rule was to keep your hands off of other mafiosos' wives and daughters. When Big Sal was inducted in 1974, the boss made that especially clear.
He said that you could never dishonor anybody in this family or any other Cosa Nostra family by fooling around with their wives, their daughters, any of their relatives sexually or any way. You sold your soul to the devil. Once you shake hands with the devil, you never get that stain off your hands.
Even so, guys are lined up around the block hoping for that handshake. The mob is rich and powerful. Some say it runs New York. So, with all these millions in play, and with Larry Carrozza supposedly a loyal mafia son, why is it that four men are gathering in the back room of Lolly's candy store to decide whether or not to put out a contract? It was no accident that Big Sal was tapped for the Carrozza job. I mean, he was big. Add to that, disciplined, efficient, and a master craftsman in the killing trade. Sal was the Colombo go-to guy for arranging sudden departures. If the destination was eternity, then Big Sal was the Colombo's in-house travel agent.
Big Sal did not have a reputation for being a psychopath. He had a reputation for being a gangster. Someone who knew that at times you're gonna have to kill, and when that time came, he was ready, willing, and able to do the work.
This was something Big Sal discovered early on and after he killed for the first time.
I had like a glow about me. I don't know. I just felt like the adrenaline was so high. It was hours before I came down. And then I felt invincible.
The tools of their trade are fists, knives, and guns. Mostly guns. Big Sal could use any of them, but he had a special feeling for firearms.
You know, the guns are an extension of you. I knew how to break down weapons, how to take care of them. I would take it apart, clean it, dry fire it. If you don't take care of the guns and they jam and you're in the middle of the street, what do? Well, I had to go to the range and shoot a lot. I had to be good at it. You learn fast how to be good at it because it seemed like I was always the one that had to go do it.
It's his lethal skill that gets Miciotta pulled out of the maternity ward and into that meeting in Lolly's candy store. The back room of Lolly's candy store certainly doesn't look like a courtroom, but it is. You really don't want your case to be tried here. For one thing, you don't have any of those rights the government has to respect. In fact, you won't even know about it. There are a few versions of who called this meeting and why, but there's no dispute about whose case was on the docket. Larry Champagne Carrozza.
Well, so I went there, sat down at the table with the two guys that came to get me and Joe. And Joe says, Sal, we gotta kill Larry.
Officers get killed for not paying attention to the rules.
Big Sal's loyalty is beyond reproach, so he can protest about killing Larry, and he does.
So we looked at each other, and then I took it upon myself to ask him, what in the world did he do that he's got to get killed? And Joe says, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but he was f***ing around with Michael, Francise's sister. So I said, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I don't know if I believe that. I said, I'll do whatever we got to do, but I just find that hard to believe.
But is fooling around with Gia the real reason? Big Sal doesn't think so.
I don't know that. Unless it was convenient for you to have that as an excuse to get rid of Larry so that you could grab all the gasoline money. Because we're talking about a lot of money here.
Big Sal's protest is overruled. The decision is made. The hit's gonna happen. And there's nothing Sal can do about it.
What choice did I have? What could I say? Oh, no, I'm not gonna do it. Larry don't deserve that. Don't I know what happens to a guy if he refuses to do something that they tell you to do? You're a dead man. If it was something I was doing in the street, I'd use a shotgun first, knock the guy down, then go over and finish him with a pistol. To me, it was faster, easier. People hear gunshots, they run the other way. We got where we were going. I kind of took control. I said, Jimmy, you go up and ring his bell and get him down here. And then when you come down with him, Larry and I will get out and we'll hammer him, It was a 38, 5-inch barrel revolver. I didn't want to take any chances with automatics. Jamming up because I was in a car, and the gun had a fire or I was in trouble because once I made my move, if I didn't take him out, I got a problem on my hands.
So, Big Sal, Jimmy Angelino, and Larry Carrozza are stopped on a quiet Brooklyn residential street. Larry thinks he's about to show his two companions that he can be the kind of muscle the Colombos need. He thinks he's passed the test to become a real gangster. That happy thought is his last. Larry Carrozza never sees it coming.
As soon as Jimmy got out of the car and closed the door of the car, with the noise from closing the door of the car, I timed the shot and hit him in the back of the head. And his head exploded like a watermelon. And then I put another one in his head, 2 shots, not even an inch from his head. But it wasn't even blood, it was clots. Probably brain matter. I looked like Dracula, I had blood all over me.
Sal has done this before. He's planned ahead. He has a getaway car already in position.
We also got 2 crash cars, and we parked them on the street there during the day. The crash car behind me pulled up, and shielded me so that I could walk across the street and get in the other car. Then I got back in the car. We went about 2 blocks. We threw the guns in the sewer. That was something I always did. When I was done, I always flipped them in the sewer. They'd never be found. And we went about our business.
Big Sal is driven home.
It's kind of like you're in shock when you do something like that, you know? It takes you a couple hours to regain your senses a little bit, you know? And I came out of the shower, I had something to eat, called my wife at the hospital, and I went to sleep.
Larry Carrozza's body is found later that night. There are no fingerprints in the car. The gun is never found. He is 3 weeks past his 30th birthday. The next morning, Salvatore Miciotta goes to the hospital to pick up his wife and newborn daughter. Life goes on. It took Big Sal another 10 years to do that. Crime is the only life he knew. But Sal knows that what he'd done unto Larry would surely someday be done unto him. You know, that old golden rule.
I was paranoid every day. I was paranoid every day that my number was up. I was always watching everything, trying to notice if there was anything going on under the surface. You know, I was always at high alert.
So in 1993, when Big Sal finds himself on the losing side of a Colombo family civil war, one of his friends proposes a meeting with the other faction. The friend was told there'll be no hard feelings. Bygones would be bygones. Big Sal smells a rat. Unlike Larry, Sal knows when he's being set up.
I was around those guys for years. I know how they think, and I know how they operate. And I would say without exaggeration, they're gonna kill me within 15 minutes.
Sal's been a hitman long enough to know when it's time to get out of Dodge. And he does. He skips the meeting.
I've had my full of that lifestyle. I couldn't handle it no more. My kids started to get a little older. You know, I brought them into this world. I had to be a father to them. So I made a decision. Spoke to my wife about it. My wife said, do whatever you need to do that we could stay together as a family. And that's what I did.
Sal became disillusioned with and eventually disgusted by the guys who told him to do it. He no longer saw them or himself as men of honor.
I wasted my life completely. The people that I had an effect on, like Larry Carrozza, his wife, his family, I hurt those people. I mean, and the hurt that I caused my own family. It's taken a toll on me, physically and mentally. You know, I believe that all the things that I'm going through now are because of the things that I did.